I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everyone, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I can't wait to get in on this episode.
Great Emmy of writing.
Oh, okay, there was something going on. Someone had something on. But anyways, we've got one extra square here. That's because we have Mr. Zane Holtz with us today. So say hello to everyone for us.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey.
Hi, Zane.
Thanks for
you?
joining us.
There. All right.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Jump right in because I know we started a little late and we've got the fans. I'm sure they're totally ready for this. So why don't we just talk about our favorite moments of the episode, and we're going to start with Bryant.
Oh my gosh, this was my favorite episode so far. I think I say that every single week, just so much.
Yeah.
But it was such a good episode, especially because everybody got their own little moment. We of course saw the amazing moment between Jorge and his father. I was literally crying, guys, or my makeup was about to run already because I was like, no, not the father. So that was one of my favorite moments just because it was such a beautiful exchange. And of course it didn't really end the way we wanted it to, but it still was nice to see that kind of moment between them. Of course, I'll be remiss to not mention Zane's underwear photo shoot, one of my favorites as well, but we will get to that at a later date.
60 seconds.
I mean, you don't have to get to it at a later date. It could be right now.
Oh, okay. Well, then, since everyone got to wait till a later date, we're going to skip everyone else's review on the episode. I want to talk about that moment where you had to be all up in your skivvies the whole time. How did that feel?
It's fun. It's fun. Those things are, if there's humor that can be added to it, I always have a good time doing that stuff. And I know those kind of elements of the character are things that almost throw back to the comics, right? Like in the old school Katy Keene comics, there used to be kind of pinups of KO and Katy, and you'd always be standing there in his underwear, and then you cut out the clothes and you put on the different outfits on him, right? So it was kind of I thought a pretty fun way to nod the comics in that way.
Oh, there we go.
I love that.
I remember those old school little paper dolls that you would play with and you would put the clothes on it. I don't know if I just aged myself or if we didn't have a lot of toys to play with when I was a kid. But going back to our favorite moments, so now what was your favorite moment?
Oh my God, it was such a good episode. I guess, wow, mine would have to be the showdown.
They're right.
Right.
Those are those arguments that nobody ever wins, right? Like when both 100% believe that they are not in the wrong, you're never going to have any resolution there. So, on the day, Camille and Xandra did play it as if it was an accident. Now, was it? Who knows?
What do you think?
It's hard to say because then she does turn it and then gets it dry cleaned and has it given back to her. So it's hard to say, but maybe the conversation in the bathroom where they become friends is the reason that happens. So maybe she did do it on purpose at first and then she had a change of heart.
Yes. We had Camille on the show and she mentioned that we're going to see definitely some turn with Xandra, or we're going to grow to love all the different characters that we thought were the villains, So I definitely see that.
For sure. Yeah. This episode, I guess, is kind of the beginning of that growth for her and that turn. But yeah, you definitely see that throughout the rest of the season. Because ultimately, all the characters on this show, I think, are pretty likable, and you love to hate certain villains, but you learn to love them at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone hates Toby on The Office, but they love
him.
Eric?
Well, as much as Pepper is my girl, when everything hit the fan at Molly's Crisis, I was like, oh, we love a scandal. No Kerry Washington. We love a scandal.
That happened. I was like, God,
seeing her whole story unravel with everybody in the room at the same time is definitely one of my favorite scenes from the episode.
Right. And I didn't see it coming. Pepper is the one that has everything very planned out, very strategic. So it's to watch everything unravel and then deals are coming out. It was a mess, but I lived. We love a mess.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that happen, it was one of my favorite moments just because like I had said last week, I was like, let me tell you, it's gonna hit the fan.
Mhm.
It's gonna be
You
sketchy.
did.
I was like, yes, Yvette is right. But actually the other moment I liked is when KO takes the dry cleaning to Katy.
My
Yeah.
I'm
heart.
not gonna lie, the romantic girl in me, I would have been standing.
They're trying to truly see if they can still be friends and not be together. And this is one of those situations where like they're broken up, but they do share a group of friends, just like KO wants to be there for Jorge at the beginning of the episode after he gets attacked. And you kind of always see KO has connections to the other friends in the group other than just Katy. So it's kind of one of these deals where they're not together right now, and who knows if they're going to end up together later, but they're going to continue to see each other for sure. So it's trying to kind of, in this episode, really explore that and see, well, what is it like for them to be in the same room? And then what is it like if they're now dating other people? And how does that relationship work and where does it go?
For
So
sure.
going off of that, I mean, I know in the show they've been together for 10 years. Do you think it's possible that at like ending a 10-year relationship like that, this goes for everyone, so everyone can chime in, obviously. Do you think that it's possible to stay friends like that and um not have there be any conflict, not let there be any jealousy? Because I know if it were me, I mean, I don't know if I could be, I mean, it would have to have ended so amicably that I would be like, yes, I'll be the maid of honor at the wedding for my boyfriend. Of
Oh
course I
Yeah.
would
wow.
care.
Oh whoa.
Oh no, no, honey. Please, no.
Okay.
I would
Oh
do
my
that was to like stand up there and be like, yes.
I would pull her weave off.
I don't,
What
I
do you
mean,
guys think?
I think it's a tough one. I think every situation is unique. Um, a situation like this where they were together since high school and they were together for 10 years, and yeah, this is presumably a couple months later, I think it would be rough. And I think we did kind of show that a few episodes earlier where KO straight up quits his job just so he doesn't have to make her uncomfortable or have himself be
Right.
uncomfortable by working at the bar where he knows they're always at. So I think at this point in the story, we're saying it has been long enough that maybe they're willing to try. But for regular people in real life, I don't know. I think you could probably stay away for at least a year, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, at least if it was 10 years. I mean,
Yeah.
I got out of a 6-year one and I was just like, yeah, it's gonna have to be out of sight, out of mind for me for just
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
little bit because I don't think I can, I mean, she was used to waking up next to him and talk, you're used
Yeah.
to all those things, and then you see it being shared with somebody else. Like she said in the episode, she's like, it's an adjustment. You have to get used to it. So
Yeah.
that's not a simple thing.
I have a question. So, as KO, now we know that Katy has worked with Xandra before. So, how was that? As in, as him, that being his ex, Katy, and you're hopping to the person she
Mhm.
worked with.
Yeah.
How does that go?
Yeah, that might be bad on KO's part. You know, I think it was one of those things where again, they run in the same social circles, and
Right.
now he's out of a job because he quit Molly's, and then she offers him it starts out she offers him this thing where he's driving her around and he's the bodyguard basically, and then we say that it evolved from there. So yeah, I don't think KO I think is such a genuinely good guy. I don't think he would chase Xandra intentionally to ever hurt Katy. I think it's just one of
Hmm.
those things that kind of happened.
Mm.
Yeah. What I would say, like, I would say I'm the biggest CW fan, and what I feel like is gonna happen is because I don't want this to happen to my girl Xandra now that I'm starting to like her, it's gonna
Mhm.
become like a love triangle, and I know it's gonna be where it's like we see KO and Xandra's relationship kind of develop, and then they go back with Katy, and then it's just going to become such a mess for everybody involved. I'm like, no, don't make the drama. I'm going to be upset.
I think it's just going to be more so Katy's still confused. Because remember I said she was confused, you know, dipping her pen in the company ink and doing this and that.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be confused. And it's like, you know, I think it's a natural human reaction. Like when someone has something that was yours, it's like, heaven forbid someone else has it. Like you want to be the bigger person, you want to be happy, but naturally in the beginning you're like, no, like no, like
Well,
Right.
yeah,
grabbing her waist like that.
that's where she's kind of trying to draw the line in this episode, right? Because like she is there seeing Xandra for the dress for her work, and then what happens? She shows up, and then there's KO and Xandra together. So it is that thing where she has to control how she feels personally, but not letting it get in the way of her work.
Right. And speaking of, did anyone pick up on Gaia La Montoya saying, I look forward to working with you professionally, but there was like some like,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, what are you saying here? Like, is this like some weird innuendo? I don't know. So I feel like Katie's only hung up until she gets her own.
That girl, you know, she is not, let me tell you, she's not short on, you know, the menu that she can eat from, okay?
Right.
Number 4. There's 4.
And
We love to see it.
She knows how to play off of that menu. She's not on the dollar menu. She's like premium, like premium size for myself.
We shot it so
He's like, so I'll just watch you guys talk like you normally talk.
Right.
that sounds great. Yeah.
I love it. I do agree though that she is just, we talked about this before, that she's just hopping around, and like I've seen episodes where they, or like shows where they kind of like move between different like love stories, but with this, she is just like bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Like literally, she is like KO, and then the guy that she went on the date was a photographer, and then she went to Gaila Montana, and then she went to Prince Arrow, and then back to KO, and I'm like, girl, choose one. I think she's gonna come for Bernardo next. I'm so sorry, Jorge.
You know, it just brings me back to a very poetic song, "Ain't No Fun If the Homies Can't Have None." Because she's
goodbye.
Wow, that's profound. Okay, Maya Angelou.
Poor KO's just still heartbroken every time.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I she's homie hopping for sure. But I mean, she's doing it in a classy way.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not talking about
Find
it.
your flavor. That's all. You know, it's a melting pot. New York is a big melting pot. She just wants to feel where her flavor is. That's all.
Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors. I get it.
Yeah. Wait, okay, so Zane, what would you say is the thing that is attracting KO to Xandra that maybe he didn't receive with Katy? Like, why is that his follow-up to Katy?
Well, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit. KO doesn't really talk about it in the scene, but a little bit of the subtext is that Katy and KO, when they were together through the years, it was so familiar, and they kind of supported each other's dreams and were there for each other, and just kind of like, when there's that familiarity there, they kind of maybe aren't pushing each other outside of their comfort zones as much. And I think with Xandra, there's a lot of Xandra that is pushing KO to try new things and maybe new careers, and trying to kind of, she says, as Xandra says, she's trying to get him to reach his full potential. And I think maybe for KO, when he first felt that, it did feel like something new, and it wasn't about, I don't think he looks at it as he needs to improve himself to her standard, but maybe to push himself to do things and try things that he hadn't before.
Okay.
He was attracted to that.
I love that.
I think I see both. Like, you know, I think Katy was, you know, very much supporting of him and pushing him to do what he wanted to do, like, you know, keep moving up in that aspect of his life. Whereas Xandra is like, okay, you did that, you can do that, but look at all the other things you can do. So it's like there's they're both like in the same, it's like they're under the same umbrella, but they're two separate little compartments, you know?
Sure.
Right.
So
And really, I think that was the whole reason we see Katy and KO break up at the beginning of the series is because they do both have personal growth to do before they can maybe ultimately end up back together. And maybe we'll see. Maybe it works out with Xandra, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it works out with Katy, maybe it doesn't. But maybe Xandra is the right person for KO to be with now, so he can branch out and grow and become a bigger person and a better person.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think what I wanted too with Katy is I wanted that growth period. I wanted her to be by herself because we all
Mhm.
have those friends. I know I have some girlfriends when they're like, "Yeah, I just broke up with this guy, but I'm seeing this other guy," and I'm like, "When are
Yep.
you gonna breathe, sister? Like, you need some time for yourself to recover from that." So I needed KO to have that because she didn't have that. She was just like sleeping with people in the Lacey's bed and stuff, you know. So I think she needed that time to recover from KO because that was such a huge breakup.
Yeah, because otherwise, what was the point? And they should have just stayed together and gotten married if they're both not going to go their separate ways and try and, I think truthfully, like they are two people that got together when we never really say, but we're saying high school, right? Maybe 15, 16. And then if you've been together through all those formative early years, maybe they did need some time apart to
hmm
get to a different place than they would have if they just always stayed the same and stayed with each other. I think
Yeah.
that love is always going to be there, and I think ultimately we'll see what the writers write and what the audience wants. But if and when they do end up back together, they'll both be in a better place and be ready to take that next step.
Yeah.
now,
Oh.
what?
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm just very proud of KO for standing on his word of things, of saying, you guys are broken up, and it's not like usually the guy will be like, I was just playing, I miss you.
WID at
It's
2 a.m.
quarantine and I have nothing to do, so like, what are you doing?
Usually
Right.
be like, oh, I left my, game controller at your house, and he doesn't even play games at all.
I left my adapter. I left the adapter that goes to the cord that goes to the PS4.
Right, because he plays all the games.
Yeah.
With your heart.
And I'm just so proud of him for standing on his, word on it. Like, no, we're just gonna be friends. And you could have slipped up like the prince and stayed the night and
Yep.
up, but you chose to go home to your girlfriend that told you to find your own way home.
Right.
No, he is. That's why I do love this character, because he is like authentic to what he says. He says what he means and he really does it. And if he does love Katy, right? But right now him and Xandra are together and he's not going to disrespect that and do either of them wrong.
You gotta write a
Yes.
book for all the men to read this.
Yes.
Yes. Send it out.
I'm about to be like, yo, can we get a book out?
Katy Keene's Guide to Men.
Right? Oh my gosh. But
Fall 2021. Real quick, I want to jump in with the chat because they have a fun question for Zane.
Okay.
So shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Logan and External Shockwave. Thank you for Sanaa for asking the chat for some questions. But External Shockwave is asking, what's been your favorite scene to shoot? Have we seen it already, or is it later on in the season?
Ooh, okay. Okay, I definitely have one that's later on in the season that I don't want to spoil, but just like the location itself is such an iconic, like, rom-com New York.
Empire State
location.
Building. Oh my God, I know it. I just
That
know it in my
when you
heart.
see that when you see it, you're gonna love it. But for whatever reason, I seem to get lucky because we shoot an episode in about 7 or 8 days, and I'd say 5 of those days are on the stages, right? They're on the sets that are built, and it's all interior. It's Katy's apartment, Lacey's, all the Molly's Crisis, all the usual kind of sets. But we do probably 2 days exterior, and for whatever reason, I seem to always get to be in those specific scenes. So we did a scene. It's super quick, but if you remember, there's a bit in episode 2, I think, where she breaks her heel and I come and grab her in the crowd, and then I'm carrying her through the crowd. That And that scene was one of the first times on the show that I was like, oh man, like I am shooting a new series in New York. And we're walking the streets of New York, and there's all these iconic buildings behind us, and we've got 150 extras, and it felt like that big New York cinematic moment that you always see in the movies. And I just remember being so happy to be there and be a part of that kind of like New York magic.
I love that.
Yeah.
Aw, that was so sweet.
As a New Yorker, I take personal pride in the fact that you love filming in my city.
It's great. We're happy. I'm actually so I've been living in New York since August for the show, but I'm not
Okay.
there now. I'm on Vancouver Island. I'm outside of Vancouver. I was actually in Vancouver shooting an episode of Riverdale as
I just died.
not really a spoiler. That's kind of out there. But
Yes,
I'm
I saw
doing-
it on your Insta.
Yeah, I'm doing an episode of Riverdale as KO, and we production got shut down obviously with everything that's going on, and so I'm now kind of here in Vancouver waiting to see what I should do, and I'm kind of not in a huge hurry to get on a plane or get back to New York right now. So,
Right.
you know, but I have really enjoyed living there, and shooting the show there is really cool. So thank you for
Enjoy
having
all the food. Enjoy all of it. It's so good.
Yeah.
So wait, so then have you been to a bodega and gotten your little sandwiches over there? Or no?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I live in Brooklyn right now, so I'm like right off a block that has, you know, everything. Of course, that for me was the biggest change, is being able to like walk out my door 100 steps and there's a barber shop and a place to get pho and a pizza place and like whatever, like every business you can imagine, you know. So that lifestyle change was big for me, and I've enjoyed it.
Okay.
I love that.
Let me find out. I need to go to New York.
Everyone needs to go to New York.
I've been dying to go to New York because I have so many coats that I want to wear that I cannot wear here. 3 days cold, and I have coats with like big fur and like long. You think I was walking out of The Devil Wears Prada, and I'm like, Yvette, you're gonna walk like 2 steps and then you're gonna throw that thing off. So is there any more in the chat? Because I can't see.
Not really. External Shockwave was just mentioning how he's ready for KO versus Archie, which I am so ready for as well. I am not prepared mentally, physically, or emotionally, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah.
It was fun, man. I mean, we're almost done. Like I said, you know, I'm kind of waiting. There's another day or two I think I have to do on that, but yeah, got to do some pretty cool stuff with KJ on that show, and I think people will be pretty psyched to see it. I mean, who are you gonna root for, you know?
Honestly, I don't know.
I was like, I think Brian's not gonna root for anyone. I think he's just gonna hope that it's a shirtless brawl.
Right.
It has to be.
And if it is, I'm not gonna be mad at it. So I really think that's all we're hoping for. Anyways, going to another topic of the show, which is, I know one that we talked about a lot last week, was Jorge's situation. And I remember I kept saying, I was like, please, I don't want it to be what I think it is. And of course, episode opens up, I about died. How did you guys feel when you saw how the dad got?
I remember them, because we do the table reads, right? So we all kind of read it out as a cast before we shoot it. And I remember thinking, you know, this isn't the way that you would hope that somebody's parent would react. But they're doing such a fantastic job of playing it as actors that it was very dramatic and very like, it was effective to watch. It made you feel
I felt
bad for Jorge, and it made you not understand why his father would feel that way. So I thought the scene was effective. Obviously, it's not the response that you would hope to get from your parent in that situation, but I think the scene was well written. And I will say that over the next few episodes, it will pay off in a way that's more encouraging and more loving.
Yay. I
good.
definitely was like, it was hard for me to watch, but because it was so emotional. And I was the way that it was written, like you said, it was really like executed very well, because I almost did think that the dad was gonna say, it's fine, you know, I accept you, but he didn't, of course. And it was still going back to the thing that Yvette mentioned last week of just about safety. You know, he's like, above anything else, I want you to be you, and I still want to love you. I'm always going to love you, but I care about your safety more than anything. And that's why this, of course, I guess it's really a gay bashing was so impactful to their relationship, because it set everything up and it showed just what kind of situation that Jorge is in. So I was like so sad, but thankfully my man Bernardo was there to save the day.
I think they did a really good job, because I think they really honed in on what a very realistic reaction would be from a Hispanic dad, which is, you don't need to do that. Like, I love you, I can't lose you. And it's like, it's almost, what I appreciated was that it was very realistic. It wasn't the, oh, I'm okay, that's totally fine, you know, this is going to be great, blah, blah, blah. Because unfortunately, like we said last week, like, stuff doesn't happen like that. And we pray and we hope. And we've all been through the situation, whether it was us personally or a loved one, that we've seen it. And it's just one of those things, like, I think, like, our panel has seen like every aspect of it. And that's what I appreciate. I appreciate when you're able to put something out there that's so effective, because it is real. It's like, the real world does not work how everyone wants it to work. Like, this is the real thing that happened.
His father is asking him to stop doing what he thinks is like a dangerous hobby. He doesn't understand it's actually part of his son's identity, and it's not something that he can't just not do because you think it's dangerous.
Right.
For sure.
He doesn't get it yet, and we'll kind of see that arc and that relationship throughout the season, and see him kind of start to understand his son more, and not just ask him to stop doing things because he doesn't want him to get hurt.
Yeah. I was just happy to see that aspect of, or that feeling of concern, because you know, if not, it would have just seemed very kind of like cutthroat on the dad's part. Like, I needed that piece of vulnerability, because if not, it would have just been very like, as Yvette said, machismo based. And it's like, that's not what this is about. Your son was just abused. Like, give him some type of love. And I was able to like get that feeling from the father, where it's like, look, you know, I love you, but this is gonna hurt me if it hurts you any more than it already has. So I felt that.
Yeah. I think the writing too.
Really
it was the entire time, like, the language that was used too, like,
That's what I was gonna say.
normal clothes, you know, of saying that really got me too, because I'm like, no, she didn't just say normal. I'm like, oh,
right.
this is gonna go left. And then also, you know, them just saying like, no, you can't dress like that, no, no, no. And then when she finally did, you know, Ginger did step out, then she was able to really, you know, just stand up and say, no, I'm not gonna just dress and, you know, conform to what you guys want. This makes me happy.
Yeah. And that was a great character arc for Jorge and Ginger at the end of the episode, when he was able to stand up in front of his community and say, this is who I am. And even if his father doesn't understand yet, he does, and he's willing to stand out there and be proud of who he is.
Yeah.
Note, I loved the brother that was like so for it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
To like be there. I was like, I love that, because you, like I said, you don't get that all the time, but you do in some families. Some families, the siblings care, some of them don't. But I loved that. He was like, so like, he was for it. Like, I literally could see him like walking out in drag himself. Like, he was there to be with his brother, and like, he didn't care what his brother was doing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great. But I know we only have a couple minutes left. So I know there's some special segment.
Yes.
Oh no.
So
What happened?
we got, baby girl.
Yeah, so this is going to be a segment called 60 Seconds with Zane. So we're going to ask you questions. You have to answer them in 60 seconds. So,
Oh man.
yeah, so let's see. I have faith in you that you're going to get through them all. And they're
Are
going
these like pop culture questions, or are they questions about me?
questions about you. So you should have
Oh man. Okay.
Okay, and I have my other phone here with 60 seconds. So
Oh, she got 2 phones.
Yes,
She
girl.
got money.
Okay.
I thought I could get, maybe I'll get like 68 or something. I might be able to go a little bit over. We are on the clock. Okay.
yes. Okay. Color socks you are currently wearing.
Color of socks. I'm wearing Clippers socks. LA Clippers socks.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Favorite color.
Favorite color, red.
Least favorite food.
Least favorite food. I like everything.
That's my kind of man.
A cultured man.
Past.
Okay. So go to drink at the bar.
Oh, whiskey and then a beer.
Oh wow.
Oh my god.
Yes.
That just
Wait,
went down my
what-
body like.
You sing in the shower.
Do I sing in the shower? Yeah.
What song do you sing?
I've been sometimes I hum the song from A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
Last quarantine snack.
Last quarantine snack. Damn, I just had salmon and macaroni and cheese.
Oh,
okay.
That sounds good.
He went like blue box a la fancy. You know?
It's a good mix. It's a good
Not at
mix.
craft.
Wait, real quick though, because he said he likes whiskey, and I'm a huge whiskey drinker because of my brother. What's your
Bullet
favorite whiskey?
bourbon.
Oh, okay.
Bullet.
Oh,
Well,
bullet.
for like a regular drink, or are you talking about like a special occasion?
Special occasion.
Special occasion. I like this small batch bourbon called Blade and Bow.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. All right.
With his salmon and macaroni and cheese.
And you know,
No.
seconds. I do want to give fans at least 2 extra questions for you to answer as bonuses.
Cool.
Yes.
One of them is, what's the most insane rumor you've heard about yourself?
Oh. So there's a fun one. So I'm married, and
Oh.
I'm married, and
Why
people
you
know
gonna go
this.
walk
The
off?
But
girls and gays are heartbroken.
so I guess there's like another woman with the same name as my wife, and people think that I'm actually married to her, but I'm not. If that makes any sense.
Confusing.
Yeah. Is that confusing?
That's
A little.
crazy.
Yeah, it was just a weird one that I saw, like somebody, it was on social or something. And I was like, I don't know, that's not right.
Like, that's not my wife though.
No, yeah.
And then the last one, I was thinking, let's see, who was the last person you told I love you to?
I was gonna say, maybe one of the kids, probably. I've got children too, so.
Yeah.
I saw. How was it like having your daughter on set?
Oh, awesome! So okay, so my daughter is 12, and she's 12, so she's like the biggest Riverdale fan ever. So this was definitely like my favorite job that I've gotten since she's been around, and she usually comes to set at least once, and then that day was the day we were shooting Pepper's birthday party. So all the cast was there. she got to hang out, and she actually got to sit behind in Video Village with speakers, and she got to call action a couple times. It was cute.
How cute.
So cute.
Well, guys, I know it's been great, and we can sit here for hours because God knows we've all been quarantined in our homes, and we're not.
Where are you guys off to on Friday night? No worries.
It's like that old school website. I don't know if any of you guys ever did it, but it was chat roulette. This is what I feel like it kind of is. But anyway, I was like, we're not going to go into those horror stories. But we do have to leave everyone. So I want to thank everyone for watching. A big thank you so much to Zane for taking time out of your day or night, I should say, and just being here talking with us, listening to our crazy selves and hot messes of what we are when we get to talking about the show. So with that being said, Bryant, why don't you tell everyone where we can find you and where we can watch you?
Yay, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at the Brian Santos. The biggest thing I want you to check out is AfterBuzz TV's new series, Quarantine with the Stars. I'm interviewing some of Hollywood's best and brightest. Check it out on AfterBuzz.
Yes. All right. And what about you, Sana?
Yes, make sure to follow me on Instagram at @Iam_Sana. That's SANA_, and on Twitter at @Iam_Sana.
And you, Eric?
Catch me on Instagram at The World According to Eric, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Eric Devante.
All right. And what about you, Zane?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Zane Holtz.
All righty. And you guys can find me on everything at Sports and Sass with 3 S's. You can find me on YouTube, not TikTok yet, Snapchat, anything. And you guys can also catch me on AfterBuzz Latino TV. We have a new channel. I am there Monday through Thursday. We are talking about the coronavirus epidemic, and we are going to be expanding the channel. So I will be there all the time with my not so great bilingual Spanish in politics as I thought it was. That being said, thank you so much for being here, Zane. We really appreciate it. We love you as a character. Obviously, now we love you even more as a person. And we hope everything just pans out for you and you're back to shooting soon. And we love how the series ends.
Thank you. I'm glad that you guys are having such a good time watching it, and it's fun to be able to chat. And it makes me feel good that the show makes people feel good.
Come back anytime.
I will.
All righty, guys. Thanks for watching.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.